there's one thing that I saw Mike Babcock say. So Mark Masters says he was asked about discipline in the pregame interview, and Babcock said, "Eventually, the room has to clean that part up."
Oh yeah, I saw your tweet about this.
And I said, "I'm sorry. This is my tweet. I don't know if eventually is good enough anymore." After the Neil, did we talk about the Nylander benching?
We did.
Okay, so I don't need to go into that. After the Nylander benching for a poor play, I'd like to see Babcock do the same with other players when it comes to taking stupid penalties.
No,
Why isn't that why can't we do that?
because Nylander's no,
Why?
because
Because Nylander is actually good and people can't deal with it. People can't deal with the idea that this man who held out until the night before December 1st can number one play hockey, number two is
no, it was
great with
December 1st, but it was like it was half an hour before the deadline at 5.
okay, half an hour before the deadline at 5. Number two, he's great with Austin Matthews, and number three, I don't know what number three is, but so I'm just gonna go with those two.
He gets all the crowns from Jesse Blake.
And he gets all the crowns from Jesse Blake. That's the three. Why is it that it's only William Nylander? And I get the last couple of games because you know what? Tavares was out, Muzzin was out for a game. Who are you going to depend on? You're going to really give Martin Marincin 25 minutes? I mean, you're playing him on the top four. I don't know why, but fine. Now, that right now, when even with Hyman out, your wing depth is perfectly fine. Your wing depth is more than good enough to say when that you can put someone there. You literally bench Nylander and play Dmytro Timashov. I think you can bench other players. So eventually is not good enough. Eventually is really not good enough anymore. And I'm not panicking, and I'm not saying Mike Babcock should be fired. I'm saying Mike Babcock has to look at this team because I'm sorry, Mike Babcock is a smart coach. Despite what other people want to say, I don't think he should be fired. He needs to stop being stubborn and change. That's what he needs to do.
But he's over the age of 40.
Oh, so what? So what?
He's not gonna change. He's been the same coach for how long? I'm not sitting here saying fire Babcock because I can't wait for another Game 7 collapse. But I mean, sitting there saying hoping he's going to change. It looked like he was going to change after, or he said he was going to change after last year, and he hasn't.
Okay, so what's the next move for the Leafs? Because obviously, if he's not going to change and the players aren't gonna listen to him, or the players aren't gonna, I don't know what's going on in that dressing room. Babcock needs to do something, right?
Yes.
So it's not waiting until your players fix it. It's having demanding that they do something. And if you're not going to play, you can sit down. You can be benched. And I heard them talking about it yesterday or the day before on Hockey Central at noon about putting players in the press box. And I agree with the idea that it teaches them a lesson. But when your players are making over $10 million or $6.9 million or any of those top players. You can't put Matthews, Tavares, Marner, or Nylander or Riley in the press box because those are the guys that we're all or except Tavares. Those are the guys we're complaining about, right?
Yes.
At the end of the day, we're complaining about four players, and then everyone else is is making money. That fine. You just need to get better, but prove it on the ice.
Do you think maybe Babcock has a thing of the big kind of downward spiral that was October? A lot of it really started when Tavares was out. So do you think maybe he's saying, all right, we've got our captain back, see what kind of how he stabilizes stuff, and then if there's an issue, then you start taking it seriously?
You know what I have a problem with that is though, or
What?
the problem I have with that, sorry, is that last night, I'm sorry, but John Tavares did not look his best. He I get he's back. He has the extra protection on in the. I think he broke his middle finger or something. One of those fingers around there. And he just did not look like John Tavares. So how many games do you think it's going to take John Tavares to look like John Tavares after missing
Does,
7 games?
does he have new gloves that have like padding and that in them?
Yes, yeah, he had
So
he had extra.
so Brendan Gallagher has the same, and apparently there's like steel plates in them.
Oh,
So
I don't know if they're steel plates.
I saw some people say that obviously they said maybe his finger's still broken. I really hope that they're not. Obviously, a broken finger isn't a concussion, but at the same time, I'd really hope they're not rushing him back, or
I
that he
don't
himself is saying, "Hey, listen, I'll complain," you know.
I don't know if it's still broken, but I don't know if it's 100%. And at the end of the day, if they rushed him, the reason behind it is probably um, is oh look how poor we're playing. We really need our captain. I don't think that's justified. I don't think that's a justifiable answer to get to rush someone. But again, so how many games do you think it's going to take John Tavares to properly be John Tavares?
Oh, I I don't know. I wouldn't I'd give him like 2 or 3, and if something's bad after another 2 games, then I think you have an issue.
So now we're talking a 10 game span where 7 of them you didn't have John Tavares, and now another 3 where John Tavares was something might not be 100%. That's a I'm that's a lot of games to say oh we'll fix it eventually, right? I don't think it's a good enough excuse. Think about this, and I've heard this a lot, and I finally clued in on it. The core of this team before John Tavares got here was Matthews, Nylander, Marner, Riley, Anderson, right?
Yeah. With
John Tavares, sorry.
with respect to JVR and Bozak before they left, we all knew they were leaving, but respect
Yeah,
to
yeah,
you
we all knew it,
guys.
but they were the core, the young new core of this team
Yeah,
was those 4 players. John Tavares was an added bonus.
no one saw that coming.
No one saw John Tavares coming. After the whole Steven Stamkos thing, no one in Toronto thought John Tavares was coming. I didn't think John Tavares was coming. I'm like, oh, no way he's coming. He's probably going to go to San Jose.
Well, I think people still
So,
had the thing
John,
of that he was staying with the Isles until the night before.
right. But at the end of the day, this team should have looked good without, like, good without John Tavares. But it doesn't. It does not. It looks like a mess. Last night, Matthews and Nylander looked invisible until those last whatever 10 minutes, invisible. Philadelphia, they were okay. Washington, they were Matthews was good, but the line was okay. And before that, it was unimaginable. Like this team, I don't know what's wrong. On paper, this team's supposed to look spectacular. On the ice, this team doesn't. I don't know if they're playing for themselves, as Ovi was saying, or if there's something wrong with in the room with the coach. But something's not there. Something's not right, and something needs to change. I personally don't think that Babcock needs to go. I think Babcock needs to do something. I'm not saying he needs to change his philosophy or change the way he plays, wants them to play, because that's not going to go well. You saw, I don't know if you remember when Guy Boucher was in Ottawa. Uh, he played. He's an. Was he? He changed the way that they played, and it did not go well. Look what happened. We talked about it earlier. They were in the conference finals and they went to the bottom. I'm
Of
not saying that's going to happen with Toronto, but I'm saying getting Mike Babcock to change the way he wants them to play. That's why he's a good coach. He has set that way of playing. But Babcock needs to do something in the room, whether it's benching someone who for doing something stupid, or I don't know what taking someone off the power play, putting someone. Look, he put Marner on the fourth line. He put Marner on the fourth line when Marner wasn't playing well. Make a move that sparks this team. That's what he needs to do. He doesn't need to be fired. He doesn't need. We don't need to bring Sheldon Keefe yet. If we lose in the first round of the playoffs again, yes, then that's when something actually needs to change. But right now, Mike Babcock needs to do something in the room to bring the players back to him because right now they're not with him.
I don't know what else there is to say. It seems like this team has a very short window to prove something.
I don't agree with that. I think despite what people think that Matthews is going to leave in 5 years, Marner's going to leave in six, whatever. The team has a base. The salary cap is going up,
Oh, I'm
right?
not saying their window is closing. I'm not that stupid.
No, but you're saying they have a short window. I
What I
don't know
mean,
if that's
no, I
right.
don't mean to be competitive. I'm just saying, like, it seems like the patience of everyone is growing very, very thin here. And, like, you even have Steve Dangle, who has been a very big voice of reason in that fan base, saying that I'll give you to the end of November. And he's fed up. And, like, Steve has been a very calm and composed person. So even he's getting to the end of his leash. That is saying something.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not saying we need to because I know there's people saying we should tear this down and start again or whatever. If we pardon?
Yes, it's so dumb. Let's trade our 22-year-old 40-goal scorer and our
No.
22-year-old 90-point playmaker. No,
No,
and trade
but
Nylander, idiot.
I'm saying right. Like I don't think that makes sense. I think something needs to be done within the room itself, whether that be through John Tavares and Mike Babcock, or whether that be through Kyle Dubas making a move to teach, like to show them something. I don't know what it is, but I don't consider myself one of the people who are absolutely blowing it up, who want to blow it up or panicking because we should keep the core together. The core that I was mentioning before. At the end of the day, that's the team plus Tavares, even Anderson. That's the team. Um, so maybe I don't sound like I'm that person because I'm just extremely passionate, but yeah, I'm trying to get the idea across that we don't need to blow it up. Listen, do you remember Tampa Bay missed the playoffs, right?
Yes.
So, and they had to deal. I mean, I guess their situation was different because they were dealing with injuries. I'm not saying the Leafs are going to miss the playoffs. I'm saying that something needs to happen. That's it. I don't know what else to say.